Alrighty, everyone. Alrighty, I believe you now can see my application, my presentation here. Angel, you want to start, and then I will follow your lead.
Yes. Next slide, please. Hold on.
Can you see that one?
Yes. Let me just. There we go. All right. Hi, everyone. So, good afternoon again. So, we would just like to share a short and simple reminders for everyone so that we will have a fruitful and fun session right now. So, please feel free, like Raul said, to use the chat to ask questions. Unmute yourselves as well if you want to share it like verbally. And yeah, please keep your cameras open when you can, and let's make this as interactive as possible. Next slide, please. So yeah, you could connect with us, share, tag us, also tag Raul. These are just Academy of Entrepreneurs accounts from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and we use the hashtag Boss Your Future. So we at Academy of Entrepreneurs, it's our mission to supercharge you guys with the entrepreneurial skills and network to succeed. So yeah, boss your future. Yeah, next slide. So yeah, these are our agendas for the session. So Raul will be covering those. And just a brief background, I'd like to introduce Raul, of course. So he is actually a founder of Investindo na Gringa. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, that was great. It was like, wow.
So in translation, investing overseas, and he has now more than 700 plus students and more than 50,000 Australian US dollars. Oh, Australian dollars. Sorry about that. Publicly invested in the Investindo na Gringa portfolio. So sharing with the Portuguese speaking community in Australia how he organizes himself financially, his investments, and how to generate extra income. So when he was 19, he decided to make more mature decisions regarding his money and started investing in more conservative investments. A year later, he was able to acquire some real estate shares. And at the age of 22, which I found really amazing, he bought his first apartment. So yeah, he moved not long after that. His gains on the stock market also started, and he moved to Australia in 2014 when he gradually realized the big difference between saving money and investing in Brazil and abroad. As a lifestyle and financial conditions change when arriving in the new country, it is necessary to adopt a new mindset and reassess strategies. So his mission is to show international community living in Australia that there are so many ways to make more money, even with little investment through his story. So if you want to add more to that, Raul, please feel free before you start the session. It will be amazing for them to know who you really are in your words.
No, nice. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks for the introduction. And yeah, that's true. So when I was 18 to 19 years old, I started, learning more about investments and finance. I was not really a fan of numbers. I was like, I don't like math, but I like to make money and having money. So I start to pay more attention to that. Instead of spending money, I like it to save money. I was like, oh, that's different. People usually like to spend money. So I started my journey over there. And then, so when I moved to Australia in 2014, I was working with international students for 5 to 6 years. And then I could see this struggle that everyone was coming to Australia and not knowing how the bank system works, how the superannuation works, how could I invest? Can I invest? It's impossible. Everything is too expensive. Everything that you deal with your life. And then I started sharing my experience, and that's my goal to share. And then what I'm going to share with you guys, that's the agenda. That's the 5 first steps. that I believe everyone should know before starting investing, because people tend to start jumping and want to start investing, but they cannot continue investing a long time. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. So I'll be covering that in more detail. Just a quick disclaimer, guys, that I'm not a financial advisor, and then neither is the Academy of Entrepreneurs. And the information I'm going to be sharing with you guys is general information. It's for educational purposes. So don't take that as a professional advice, because there are risks involving any kind of investments. If anyone tells you that's risk-free, that's so easy, that's blah, 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 is BS, guys. Don't fall for that. That's not correct. There are risks. People lose money. You can lose money if you start doing things that you should not do. All right. So just make sure you do your own research, and we're going to be covering that. All right. So the first thing that we should do, guys, is to analyze your whole financial picture. Where I am, what I'm doing, how I'm doing with money, how much money I have. But before doing that, we have to consider, do I have any debt? Sometimes you move to Australia, or you're Australian, you're living here already, but you do have debt. You have, like, you're paying a car, you're paying your house, you're paying this. And then you have all these buy now, pay later systems in Australia that, took by the storm. But you have to think, do I have that before I even start thinking about investing? And then you should also consider, am I behind my bills? Am I paying everything that I have to pay? Am I paying my rent on time? How much is the struggle, in case you do have any struggle, to pay your bills? And then you need to start considering if you need to eliminate or reduce one of your costs. One of the initial mistakes that a lot of people do, and not only young people, but older people that have been on this journey for a while, they don't realize how easy it is to start spending more money. Rent is here. And then if you can, guys, leave on the chat, if you had any increase on your rent, how much you are paying in the last 24 months. I had a jump when I was living in Adelaide, and then I moved to the Gold Coast. A lot has changed. So I was paying over there initially maybe $395, $400 for a 3-bedroom. And then I had to move to another house, and they are paying $450. And then on the Gold Coast, a lot of people are paying 600 something for kind of the same kind of house or unit. So you need to start realizing, am I spending more? Do I have to reduce any of the costs? Am I going out and eating out too much? So these kind of things we have to start realizing. And for that, we need a budget. All right. So my first suggestion for you guys is to create a budget. Start listing everything that we spend. Some people love spreadsheets, use Excel or any, Google Drive, Google Sheets, anything. Or you can use one of the apps. Just leaving a suggestion here. And just to be clear, I'm not being paid for these guys, just to be fair, because I use this application, can do online on your mobile phone, so you can track your money. That's the main goal. How are we going to do it? It's up to you. But the most important thing is you need to know how much you're making and how much you're spending. If you don't know that, there's no chance you're going to be able to start investing. Main reason is, when you start investing, you have to realize you have to put money aside for your emergency fund, or that's I'm going to be talking later on today, also to investments. So if you have your budget, all right, and that's 100%. So everything that you spend is going to be summing up. And that's going to be 100%. If you're spending more than 100% of your income, it's wrong. You're in debt because you're spending more than you have. You're living way more. You're spending way more than you should. All right. So just to make clear, it's 100%. Right. Let's say you have your cost of your rent, your transportation, food, going out, and trips. All right. If you want to start investing, you have to add something here. So you need to reduce in one of the other parts, so you can have money to start investing. So that's basic, but people don't realize how hard it can be because you're so used to spend all the money and not saving and investing that when you start doing this can be hard. So just be aware, that's the first thing. And still on that, what's an emergency fund? An emergency fund is usually a money that you put in the bank, you put somewhere that's safe, that you can get that money anytime you need for emergency reasons. Let's say you broke your car, you had an accident, you lost your job, you have to increase something here, or for any emergency. It's not going to Bali or going to the Philippines to visit Angel or just to do a trip. No, it's not for that. It's for an emergency. And usually what people do is you get your monthly expenses for a month, the whole month, how much you spend to live. That's it. And then you multiply that by the number of months that you want to have your emergency fund. So let's say you spend $4,000 a month, as we say in Australia, $1,000 a week. $4,000 a month multiplies by 3, you'd have $12,000. If you want to get a 6-month emergency fund, you'd have multiply by 6 and then by 12 or as many months as you want. That gives you security, that gives you the calm, the peace of mind of knowing that if anything happens, if another COVID hits, that you might lose your job or you might not be able to travel or work or have to change where you're living, you have that money put aside for your peace of mind. All right, so that would be the first step, knowing and analyzing your whole financial picture. You need to know where you are today to be able to know where you're going. All right, and then if you know where you're going, if you set your goals and timelines, you're going to be able to track how you're going. That's the main thing. If you don't know, if you're like, yeah, whatever, I want to invest, that's not really the way to go, because you need to know, I want to save $5,000 in 6 months, or I want to start investing $50 a week or a month. Whatever your goal is, set up a goal, and then you can use this smart structure. All right, so that's one way for you to make sure you have your goals, you know what you have to do, and start doing things, but keep yourself accountable as well. All right. Second step, guys, that for me is really, really important, which is one of the things that you're doing today. You're seeking for knowledge. And I will tell you, you never stop learning. Keep going on this journey. You watch webinars, you read books, do whatever you can to start seeking for knowledge. And then one of the questions that you're going to be asking yourself, not only today, but on the way of your journey is, do you yourself kind of investor, or you are someone that you prefer to delegate that to someone or to a company to do that for you? And there's nothing wrong with that. If you decide, I'm going to be talking more about that later today, you can be an active investor or a passive investor. And there's so many people building wealth in both ways. So don't get wrong, or don't get into the conversation of people saying that you have to be savvy investors and then keeping your screens open all the day and doing trades and things like that. You don't necessarily need that. So forget about it and focus on what's your profile, what do you prefer to do, how you feel more comfortable doing that, right? And then doing that means 80 to 90% of your investment journey is about your mentality, is your mindset. So as I like to explain, when people hear like, oh, mindsets, too much people talking about mindset. You need the perfect and the correct mindset. Break down the word and think like that. mindset. So you break the mind, which is your mind, and set or setting goals. So if you set your mind that you can learn about investments, that you can learn about becoming wealthy, you can change everything that you want to do in your life. And that's not BS, guys. That's the truth. Because doesn't matter if you know all the graphs, if you understand the companies, if you understand about crypto, shares, real estate, you know all the best banks, you know all the best superannuation funds and everything. But when a crisis comes, or when something happens to the stock market or to the investment market in general, if you start getting anxious and then you don't know what to do and then you're going to take bad decisions in that moment, that means your mentality, your mindset is not correct. And that's not only your fault. Don't be too hard on yourself, guys. Don't be too hard on yourself. And the main reason is you have so many money limiting beliefs. We believe that money is bad. We were raised saying, oh no, you should not have much money. Depending where you guys are from, not necessarily only from Australia, but from all over the world, we have so many corruption in the governments that when you're growing up, you see rich people, and these rich people are the ones dealing with the politicians and then dealing with, deals that are not really the bad ones and the correct ones. And you start avoiding that. And then you start thinking and growing up saying, oh yeah, I don't want more money because bad people have money, not good people. And that's the opposite. Bad people do have money as well, but not necessarily you're going to be following that path. So stop and search. If you want to search something and take notes of that. Money limiting beliefs. Search for that. You're going to start reading, and I can guarantee you're going to start reading, going to say, oh yeah, I used to think that, or I think like that. That sounds about right. So start realizing how many of these beliefs are limiting your growth. So whatever you have in your mind, you set for yourself, you set your goals. If you set them small, you're going to achieve small. If you set bigger goals, you can start achieving bigger goals. So that represents who you are, what your mind thinks, that's what you're going to do. All right. So think about it. 80 to 90% of all your investments, everything related to money is about your mind. So focus on that. If you can do it, you can do all the rest. All right. And then search, as you are doing today, you are doing a webinar, you're spending 50 minutes of your life to listen to a guy that probably you haven't heard of before. You're like, who is this guy? This guy is from Brazil. He's living in Australia. He was, investing in Brazil. He's investing in Australia. He has $50,000 publicly invested. He's doing everything for what? Because I want to share my journey. And then I'm not, I don't have to be the best. I don't have to be the only one. I'm one person trying to help you, sharing my experience. But we have books, we have podcasts, you have other webinars, articles, blogs, search for content. But remember, be careful. You gotta be careful. There are so many scams. There are so many people that are trying to scam you and create an idea that's easy to invest and they're going to be getting rich fast. If you see anything that's guaranteed, get out, run, but run. All right. Promise that. And I'm going to give you an example of a boxing ring. So think about it. When you're starting, let's say you start doing boxing. All right, you start doing, you get your gloves, you get to find a gym, you're going to be finding a partner or someone to teach you. You're not going to jump into the ring without knowing the basics. You need to know how to position your feet. You need to know how to move your hands, how you defend yourself. So don't start jumping directly into the ring and trying to fight the biggest fighters. Don't do that. You're going to get hurt. And that hurts not only you, but your pocket, which is the most sensible organ in our body. All right. So that's a thing that you have to think about it. Don't go to the boxing ring without knowing the basic steps, and then you go from there. All right. So far, so good, guys. So far, so good. You just let me know in the chat, and then I can follow your lead as well. All right. All righty. So third step, assess your tolerance for risk. Angel, just let me ask you, is it possible to send an email for everyone after the seminar, the webinar, with a few links that I have? So what you guys can do, you can use that link to test your risk profile, which is really nice. Takes about 5-10 minutes. I have 2 links. If it's possible, that'll be great. And then we can share. If not, you can go to the Academy of Entrepreneurs Instagram or social media.
Yeah, you could actually share it in the chat so that they could see it as well. So
all right.
Yeah, you could send the link in the chat so they have the reference.
Okay, cool. So I'll be sending that later. So as I mentioned before, you can be a passive or an active investing. You can decide that, but deciding that is not necessarily is going to be for your whole life. Maybe a lot of people start investing as a passive investing. They are using different strategies that you don't have to be too much involved on selecting and picking the stocks or picking kind of investment that you're going to do. And that's fine, because that's the way you're comfortable doing. Maybe you're going to be seeking advice. You're going to be paying a financial advisor. You're going to be seeking more and more information and knowledge until you feel comfortable to make your own decisions, and which is fine. That's all right, guys. That's all good. And then, as I mentioned as well, your investment risk profile, that's for everything. That's for everything. What I used to say is, if you lose your sleep, if you are going to sleep and you're feeling anxious, you're feeling, oh my God, what should I do? Well, I've done this, I bought these kind of investments or these stocks or this real estate or this crypto, whatever it is. If you're feeling that when you're going to sleep, that's something wrong. You probably have invested more money than you should have, or you have invested in something that is riskier or have more volatility than you should be doing. And the reason is that's about your risk profile. All right, I'm going to be showing you some examples later. And then about your investment strategy as well. I'm going to show you guys about 5 or 6 kind of investment strategies that are really common in the world, that it's very, very known. And then you can search for these ones later and then trying to understand a bit more of them. As I say, you have the impact investing. Usually impact investing, it's more focused on companies that are making an impact in the world. Maybe they are sustainable leaders or sustainable companies that focus on different kind of investments. Can be green energy, can be renewable energy as well. So there are so many different ones. You can use one of these strategies. You have growth investing as well, which is more focused in companies that are trying to grow, let's say tech companies that you can do, or any other type of investment that potentially they will grow more. But at the same time, there is no guarantee. As I keep saying, I'm going to keep saying that. You're going to say there is no guarantee of returns. Any company can go bankrupt. Any company. It's hard for some, that's easier for others. So you have to be really careful on that. And you don't have to necessarily follow everything and invest your money in one only thing. That's why it's important to do your research. You have also income investing, which is more focused on companies that pay you, or investments that pay you dividends. Which are dividends? So when the company does its balance, they gets all the money, that's all the profit, the company can decide if they want to share part of the profits with those shareholders. Meaning, let's say the company, you have your small business, all right, or have a company that's listed on the share market, and then they have a profit of $100,000 or $1 million, all right? So they can decide, well, they're going to allocate a little bit of this money for different things. They're going to reinvest in the company. They have paid all the bills and all the expenses, but there's some money left there that instead of reinvesting in the business, they decided to share equally with all the shareholders. So each person that has one share, which is one little part of the business, they will be receiving a part of that profit. So people focus on that because they want to have passive income. So they want to get more money out of that. So there's also the small cap investing, which is focused on small companies that have a potential of growth. So they're starting and investing in companies. They have smaller amounts. They are not Microsoft or Apple's or big ones. There are smaller companies that are also listed, and people tend to also invest in that. Why? Because they want to see that company growing. But again, you need to study the company. You need to do your research to see if that's a good business or not. And there is also a value investing, which is one of the ways that you can analyze the company. You analyze the numbers of the company only, and then you're going to see if that company is cheaper or not, if the value of the company is below the market, that meaning that's cheaper for you to buy this company than others. All right. And there are so many others here that once you go into their journey, you can start searching and seeing which one you adapt yourself more to. All right. So once you define your strategy, as I mentioned, I gave you guys the example of the boxing before. So you're boxing and you start learning a little bit, and then you know the first moves. But at the same time, you are not going to, once you start boxing, you're not going to the UFC, which is the Ultimate Fight Championship, which is the hardest of the fights. So you have to, again, step by step, going step by step. Don't rush the process. All right. That's another mistake that people make. They want to rush. They want to get into the investment that's going to give you $100,000 in return or 100% of return every year. So slow down, keep going, and then don't rush the process. All right. I will show you guys types of investments here, which is there is a relation usually between risk and return. The riskier your investment is, the potential for a bigger return, it's there, but there is no promise, as I say. And also keep an eye out for inflation. All right. So there's a difference that our inflation in Australia is raising. We had an inflation of about 1% about 2 years ago, and currently is at 3.5%. In clear and easy terms, what inflation is how much the cost of goods and services have raised in the past 12 months. So in general, 3.5% is the amount of goods and services that are more expensive in Australia today than it was 12 months ago. All right. So showing you guys, and again, that's not the way that's not, oh, you should invest on this or should invest on that. That's going to give me a bigger return. That's why I should go for that. So just to have an idea of this trade-off of risk return, if you start on your left side, when you have lower volatility and lower risk, you're going to see that cash, which is usually amounts that you leave on your bank. So there is a lower volatility, but also your return is lower. And then you start moving to your right where you have the fixed interest, such as term deposits or even bonds from the government. That's another way. And then you keep going where you have a moderated volatility in the property market or real estate. Keep going, you're going to find shares, and all the way to the right, the cryptocurrency, which is the most volatile type of investment that we have today. Maybe in a few years, you're going to have something even more volatile than cryptocurrency. Maybe, so I've been investing in cryptocurrencies, for example, since 2016. So it's been 6 years, and I've seen so many ups and downs that are so crazy. It's a roller coaster. So you need a little bit of, your stomach to be ready, because sometimes if you're doing too much, you can be too much in risk. All right. But just to keep an eye on that. And fifth step is to start small, guys. You're going to make mistakes, but they will be small mistakes. If you learn how to manage your money when, let's say, you're making 40, 50, 60,000 a year in Australia, it's fine, because you can manage that income. You can manage that, how much you make and how much money you're spending. So if you start making $100,000 a year, great. Maybe you're going to be doing 200, 300, 500, $1 million a year. That's fine. But you need to learn how to manage your money when it's small. And the same applies for your investments. So you're going to be starting small. Start some days today. Some platforms allow you to invest with $5, $10, $50, $500. So you can start small and then start signaling and track your feelings, track how you're feeling about it. Because you put in some money there, and then the other day or the next hour, it can go up or it can go down. And then you're like, oh my God, it's going down. I'm going to lose my money. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Start checking, keep track on that. And then start small. If you make a mistake, it's going to be a small mistake. And then what you have to do, you have to create an investment account in a brokerage, in a broker account. Can be so many banks or so many other platforms in Australia. The market's getting so much better with more and more options, better options, cheaper fees that you pay, which is getting better always for the user, which is great. Don't forget to do your research, guys. Always, always do your research. Don't follow to the hot tips. You go to Twitter, you go to Discord, you go to YouTube, you go to Instagram. There's so many people saying, oh, you're going to buy this and that's going to make you rich in blah, blah, blah months or years. Guys, don't fall for that. Please, please don't do that. I've seen so many people that come to me on Instagram and saying, hey, Raul, oh my God, I follow these guys, I follow this tip and blah, 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 WhatsApp groups, whatever it is. Just be careful with that. All right. Be patient. Be patient. That's not 100 meters sprint. It's a marathon. When you start investing, you're not investing to get this money next year or next month or in 2 or 5 years. Think about long-term investing. How are you going to make, how are you going to grow really your portfolio, your wealth to be rich? That's what you're going to be doing. That's what I have to focus on. It's a long journey. 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years down the track, how much money you can make, how much money you can really accumulate to do that. So if you're accumulating money, you're accumulating money. If not, you're spending and you're not investing in yourself. All right. And check your emotions. I'm going to show you something that happens all the time, every year, all the time. There's a cycle of investing emotions. All right. So if you start on the left to have the excitement, people are like, oh, there's these new investments, all the stock market's doing so well, the cryptos and the real estate, it's great. And you start going, more people are talking about it, more people are talking, and all the media is talking, all the TV, the journals, the magazines, everyone is talking about this, keeps going, and then there's euphoria, and then you bang, there's a bang. A lot of people are talking. People that have no idea what that is, they'll talk about that kind of investments, and then falls, and then it keep, and then it falls until the fear. So people in fear, they make bad decisions, as I mentioned before. And then you have a lower level, which is the panic. People start panicking. And in that moment of panic, if you are a great investor with the right mindset, that's where you're going to be calm. You know what you're going to do because you have a strategy. You know what you have to do. And that's when people make the best decisions ever and they have the best returns. Again, no guarantee. There's no way to know when the panic button starts, but that's how it works. And then after the panic, people start losing money. They leave the market. They say, I'm not going to invest never again in my life. And then the market starts doing its thing. It can take 10 years, it can take 15 years to return, or it can take a few months as it was in 2022. There's no way to know, but you need to keep your emotions in check, right? So I'm gonna give you guys a few takeaways just to make sure we are on time. So the first one, know your finance, guys. Make a budget, organize yourself, understand, am I spending too much money going to 7-Eleven or going to, eating out or not preparing myself? Check your bills, check everything that you have as a whole. An example that I like to give is if you miss a plane, you're going to travel, you miss a plane, you don't start rushing following the airplane. You don't do that. You don't run on the getaway and then say, get out, I need to do it. So what do? You come back, you have a seat, you go to the gate, you talk to the attendant, and then you buy another ticket and you wait for the other ticket. So people start thinking that investments are a once in a life opportunity. It's not always like that. You do have cycles as well on investments. So if you missed, let's say, the opportunities 2 years ago, that's fine. Prepare yourself for the next opportunity. So you're going to be ready when that presents to you. All right. You have the theory, but without practice, without doing that, there is no way you're going to learn. Nobody learns how to surf only by books, reading books. You can read the book, but if you don't put that in practice, you're never going to surf or swim. All right. That's a bit easier, but applies the same. All right. Do your own research. Don't fall for the hot tips. That happens, and I'm going to reinforce that once again. Be careful and start small. Be doing. If you're doing that, start checking your emotions, you understand how the market works, and then you're going to be sleeping better. You don't get anxious, you don't lose money, and then you really know what you're doing. All right. And my message to you guys today is, how wealthy do you want to be? It's not only how rich you want to be, how wealthy you want to be. Being rich for some people is just trying to show off how much I have and blah, blah, blah. And how wealthy you want to be is, what are you going to do? You want to buy a house? You want to have a trip with your family? You want to go overseas to visit your friends and family, your pets that you left home overseas? Or you're Australian and you're living here, you have your whole family here, but you want to go to Europe, you want to go to US, you want to go to Hawaii, you want to do whatever you want, but think about how much you want to achieve. Start thinking, start writing down how much money you want. And then this simple exercise activates something in your brain, your mind, that allows you to be able to think that you can have that amount of money. So it's simple, but it's really, really powerful. All right. And don't forget to enjoy the journey. I've been on this journey for 16 years now. I'm 33. I have my birthday later this month in April, and I'm enjoying every single time. I enjoy the time I save my money. I enjoy the time I invest, when I do my research, and especially now when I'm helping people. So don't forget to do that. If you don't know Portuguese, don't worry. You can message me. I can help you out. I have YouTube videos, Instagram as well. I'm going to leave here. I'm also on LinkedIn as my name here, Raul Engel or Raul. It's up to you. And I also do have a collection of NFTs, which is they are digital assets as well. If you want to participate or if you want to know more, just message me and I can help you guiding this journey as well. And I'm open for questions, and incredibly just 2 minutes late. It's awesome. Gonna stop sharing here. Guys, so feel free to message me if you have any questions. I can see Erica, you have a question? You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, so my question is, do you recommend to have first the money in the emergency, like with fund, and after like start investment?
Yeah, usually it's a way smarter idea, because the problem is, if you don't have an emergency fund and anything happens to you, what are you going to do? You're going to have to sell your investments to cover, let's say, expenses. I've seen so many people in 2020 when COVID hit Australia, they had money to cover their bills, let's say 3-4 weeks of rent, or they have the money to buy a ticket and leave. Let's say if you don't have any funding for the government, that's it, you're gone. There is nothing you can do. And then in the same moment, the stock market was crashing 30-40%. So just to give you guys a perspective, right? It happened to your superannuation as well. So if you check the graphs from your super back in the day, what happens is, let's say you have $10,000 on your super, right? Or invested, and the whole stock market dropped in value 30 or 40%. So let's say 30%, all right? Meaning you had $10,000, and then in a couple of really 2 or 3 weeks, you had $6,000 or $7,000. So what happens is, if you withdraw the money, if you sell those investments, you are really saying that you had $10,000, the value of that money was 10, but now it's 6 or 7. And then we sell, there's no way you're going to recover. So you didn't let the market come back. If it comes back, in that case, it came back to really come back to 10 and go to 11 or 12 or whatever amount of money that's going to be. So if you have an emergency fund, what you're going to do, you get from that money. So that's really important. So I did that. So I didn't invest in Australia before I had 6 months of emergency fund. So I had an amount of money enough to cover 6 months of my expenses. That was the best decision. I could go to sleep. If I lost my job, I broke my arm when I was an international student in Australia, and I had to be here. I was snowboarding in Threadable in New South Wales. So I had to, you know, if I was working in construction, for example, it would be impossible for me to work. I was working in an office, so I could keep working, but at the same time, if I wouldn't be able to, I would have my emergency fund as well. Did I answer your question? No worries.
Yes, thank you.
Raul, how is the collection going? Can you see it?
You're checking my NFTs as well already. That's
Yeah,
great.
I already opened the C account like a month ago. How is the collection doing?
It's doing well. So guys, so for you to understand, I built 10,000 kangaroos in, that are digital assets. So basically what I'm going to do with that, I'm building a platform where I'm going to share financial investments, everything related to investments for Australians in English, Portuguese, Spanish, any other language that I can. And then people will be able to access those contents through the NFT. So if you have one of the kangaroos, you're going to be able to access this content. So I build a new platform, then it's going to be an exclusive content for anyone that holds one of those NFTs. So it's a lot of work behind the scenes, but my idea is to not only have in Portuguese, but have in English, Spanish, or any other language that I can find people that I trust, that are reliable, that I can create content in other language. So you have that. So yeah, it's going to be a great community, but only for 10,000 people. That's going to be the limit, or less if more people have. But yeah, that's the goal. It's going there. It's going there. Guys, any other questions that you have or anything that you want to ask me? Feel free. We still have a couple of minutes here. Then I can, or anything that it wasn't clear on the steps, on the journey, just hit me, just ask me around, because I tried to simplify as much as I could, but you could see that even before you start investing, you need to prepare yourself, because you're going to start making more money. Yeah, focus on that. When you start your journey, don't focus on, oh, I'm going to get 10% a year return, or 12 or 5 or 8. Don't focus on that. Focus on making more money, generate more income, start doing extra income, start doing a few hours here and there, and that money might be for your emergency fund. And then once your emergency fund is done, you can start allocating that money to your investments, because you need more money to start investing. People that say, oh no, it's just investing, you're gonna get, money, you're gonna get rich. Nah, it's not. Investing is gonna help you to achieve your financial independence. But if you don't have money to put in there, there is no way you're gonna get more money. Just waiting for the market can take too long, can take decades, years and years and years, and then might not be enough as well. So focus on generating income, generating money, and then you're gonna have money to invest and put more money, and then you can get better returns, making better decisions. There is no promises whatsoever. That's the point. And so many people fall for scams every single day. If I would make $1 for every person that messaged me in these 2 years saying, oh, I fall for a scam, oof, I'll be making a lot of money only on these $1 ones, because it happens every day. Promises of 3% every day, or 3% guarantee a month. Guys, there is nothing like that. There is nothing like that.
And how how much do you recommend that we start with? I know it can vary a lot, but like if you could give a number around how much.
You should start investing.
Yeah.
Whatever you are comfortable with. So there is no number on that, because can be people, we can have people that are making $300,000 a year, or you're making 40,000 a year, or 35 or $20,000 a year. So if you are comfortable investing $5, that's your money. So we start investing with that. So if you are comfortable investing $500, that's going to be your decision. So we have to keep that in mind, that every single person is different. Every single person has a different risk profile. And then I'm going to share here the links that I did mention to you. Just let me find this. Just give me a second, guys, so I can share, because that's really important for you to do your test. It's maybe, as I mentioned, 5-10 minutes that you can do that, and that's going to help you as well. Just let me share.
Raul, and right now, can we buy an NFT? Are they already for sale? Are they already minted?
Yeah, yes, they are. If you go to OpenSea, you can do that.
We have to make an offer, right? Because are the 10,000 already owned by someone, or?
Yeah, if they're owned by someone, but you can make the offers. There are not many people that are owned yet, but if you make the offer, you can hit me on Instagram, you can chat, I can show you which ones. But yeah, so you can just make an offer and then they'll be accepted by 001. Sorry guys, just give me a second here just to find the links. Or Angel, do you mind if I send to you and then we send to your email? Because once we finish the chat, the call, they won't be able to access the link, if you don't mind. Or they can hit message on Academy of Entrepreneurs Instagram.
Sure.
Okay?
You can send me the links, and then yeah, definitely.
Cool. Just saying your message here from Lucy. Raul, as immigrants on visa, would you say we should care about your superannuation accounts? For example, distributing money from them to more profitable portfolios. Think like that, Lucy. You have two options. One, you can care about your superannuation, or you don't. So your money is going to be there. And then you have the options to invest your money in a portfolio. And then just for the that's a question for the non-Australians, all right? So when you leave Australia, you're going to be charged around 30% of whatever you have on super. That's going to be in taxes, all right? So when you're leaving, you have the money, and then unless you retire in Australia, that's a different game. That's going to be as everyone else, all right? So in that case, what you have to think about it is, if you don't take care of your super, that money is going to be lost, probably in taxes or fees. So check your portfolio. One suggestion that I make is send a message or an email, or use the chat from your super company, your super fund. They usually have a financial advisor to help you with that, because that's on their best interest that you keep that money in that super account. That's for them, because if you are not performing and you realize you're losing money, what you're probably going to be doing, you might be changing your superannuation, so they lose that money. So talk to them, check these options, because one thing that I did since I was here was to check my superannuation. As soon as I understood how it works, I was like, I'm paying a lot of fees. So let's say my employer was depositing, let's say $4,000 a year, but I was paying $800 in fees. So I was like, oh my God, I'm paying so much on fees, and then I'm making no money basically, because I didn't know how it works. So I was paying a lot of fees. Every single time my employer was depositing any money there, I was paying fees as well. And then the returns from that portfolio was really, really low. And I was like, that's not going to happen, because if I continue doing that, I'm getting money from my employer, but I'm not making money, I'm losing. No way. So what's the point? So I would say, take care of your super, look there with care, check, doesn't matter if you're immigrant or not. In the end, if you're leaving the country, you have money there to do whatever you want to do. You want to travel, you know, go back to your country, you're going to another country, you can start your life. And then the more money you start making, the more it increases your salary, your income, the more money you're going to have that. So you should keep an eye on that. Or your second question, would you say that should be a concern once we get a PR? The problem is if you wait until you get your permanent residency, it can take years and years. So what are you going to be doing with your money while you're not a permanent resident? So anyway, it doesn't mean you have to invest in super. That's why it's important to talk to them and get some advice. Again, be careful. You know, they usually are really nice and really good. They don't push you to put more money in there, etc. But check your fees, check everything that you have there, check your portfolio, check your options that you have. Make a decision if it's the best one for you based on your risk profile and your goals. But the problem, if you don't take care of that, is that you're going to be losing money. So today is 10%. That's going to increase to up to 12% in the next years. So basically, you're saying that 10% of what you make, you're not taking care of. So that's the point. That's my question back to you. So how many years is it going to take until you get your permanent residency? So that's a tough call, but just keep in mind that you're going to be losing money. 10% of your income, it's there. So you can make a decision if you want to keep on that, keep an eye, check those options. All right. Angel, you let me know when I have to stop. If not, I will never stop. And then I will start talking again.
So are there any other questions from the group? Have you shared?
Can I ask another question? Sorry. When after I have my emergency refund, how should I choose how to invest in shares? I don't know, cryptocurrency, like it's a lot of things that you can share. So how do you suggest, or how can I start investing? How can I pick in what invest? If that
so the first thing that you're gonna do is you're assessing your risk profile. Okay. So based on that, usually those links that I'm gonna send to Angel and that I'm gonna send to everyone, they show you if you have more like a defensive or conservative or more aggressive, what your goals are. I can send also one that's a test for superannuation, especially for Australia, which is good as well. So you can kind of know if your portfolio in your super, it's aligned with your goals, etc. So based on that, you're going to start seeing options. Let's say if you're super defensive, you're super conservative, you're not going to start investing something super crazy and that's going nuts and no, because it's too much for you at the moment. So you're going to start investing in different options that are more conservative, they have less volatility, and then those tests show you options. And then from there on, and then I will need Gabi knows here that I was talking to her yesterday. You can have me talking for 10, 12, 15 hours straight about each one of the investments, you know, because each investment you have to analyze in a different way. So you start investing in shares or crypto, or real estate, or bonds for the government, or your emergency fund. You can, each one of them, you're going to start investing time to learn and to understand how to analyze. It would be impossible for me to summarize that in 45 minutes or even now in 30 seconds that I'm trying. But from your risk profile, you start understanding what is more suitable for you, and there you start searching from there. So that will be, again, research, understanding what you feel like, how you feel comfortable, and rule is don't put more money than you could lose. So if you're putting, as Rudy was asking, how much money should I put? Whatever you feel comfortable. If it's $5, that's $5. See how it goes. You know, don't start small. That's the best part.
Thank you, Raul.
No worries. That's all.
I guess that's it. You could actually type it now, Raul, while we're all here in the chat box.
Okay.
Yeah, the links, just so it will be easier for everyone as well.
Okay. Let me find
Raul, just a quick question. And how long ago did you launch your NFT collection?
I launched the NFT collection, it was about 2 months ago, I would say, not much longer than that. I was maintaining all of them 2 months ago. It was a long process, but I did, yeah, 2 months ago.
Yeah, designing 10,000 kangaroos takes time, I think.
Yes. I'm posting here 2 of the links. So if you guys can click open and save these links, I think that's gonna be helping you. And there is just one more about the super. I think that's gonna be nice for you guys as well. Let me see. Just getting that here. I think that's nice as well for you guys to start searching and understand a little bit about yourself and be really, really honest with your answers, right? Because the only person that's gonna lose if you lie, it's yourself. So don't do that. Just do it. And then here we go. Here's the last one about super. So I think they will be going to be useful for you guys as well to search, do your risk profile. One of them is really short and the one is a bit longer, but it's fun. It's really good to, start understanding your risk profile. And if you have any questions, just search me on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and then YouTube, you can maybe put some translations on subtitles and from Portuguese to English or Spanish.
Raul, there's a question from Lucy. Is there a minimum amount to open brokerage account?
No, there is not. You don't need to deposit any amount of money, but in Australia, if you have, there are some brokers that the minimum that you can to invest is $500, but that's not from the broker, it's from the ASX, which is the Australian securities, which is the stock market here in Australia. So the minimum is $500. There are some applications and apps or websites that you can start investing with $5, $10, $50. So that's different and depending on the investment. So for example, crypto, you can invest with as low as $5 or $10 as well. And in shares, there are some applications, micro investing. If you search for micro investing apps, you can start searching and knowing more options that really $5, you can do it. Oh, thanks, Lucy. Sorry, I missed your question when I was searching for the links.
That's it. Any other questions? Anyone? No more? Going once, going twice? But well, yeah, you have Academy of Entrepreneurs socials and you also have Raul socials. So in case you have additional questions, please feel free to message us. We'll be with you as soon as we can, and we'll answer your inquiries whenever we can. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining us and for sharing your knowledge and your experience with us, Raul. And thank you everyone for staying with us this afternoon. You guys are awesome. Good luck with your investments.
And good luck, guys. Thank you very much. And again, education, education, education. Do your research. And if I can help you with anything, just let me know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.